last and least, at least as it pertains to free agency. I know the Cowboys won the division. They've won 36 games the last 3 years. Clearly they're doing something right, but they don't like to give us a whole lot to talk about this week of the year to a comical degree, really. The Cowboys did agree to terms with their own guy, Jordan Lewis, on Thursday morning. They've brought back 2 of their own guys, 3 of their own guys, as well as signing veteran linebacker Eric Kendricks. The bottom line is, Ralph, I looked this up. They are last in spending, which I don't think that part's surprising, but they are last in spending this year so far by $28-ish million. Like even the LA Chargers, who are just trying to shed salary any way they can, have spent more on their team this year than the Dallas Cowboys. I have my own very long opinions about this, but what do you make of this? You know, we can talk about Jerry Jones's very infamous comments about going all in. Clearly that he didn't mean it as it pertains to free agency. What do you make of another year where the Cowboys are reluctant to dip into their wallet?
Well, first of all, I think Jerry Jones is going to regret ever saying that. And I think he should have known better, because when you say that, people think you're going to do everything you can to win a championship. And it's not the Cowboys' way in free agency. They don't spend, they don't give out big contracts to other teams' players. They haven't done it in a decade, probably more. So when he said all in, I think a lot of people thought, okay, well, this is the year we finally do it. But that was never the intention. Whatever he meant by that, everybody else took it a different way. So that's one thing. The second thing is, I'm not surprised that they're not spending on other free agents. I'm a little surprised they're letting so many of theirs walk away, whether it's, just Dorrance Armstrong or, guys they haven't brought back yet, Stephon Gilmore. I can't even think off the top of my head who some of their free agents are. And 3 of them went to the Washington Commanders.
Right.
They let out the Dante Fowler. Some of these guys they could have brought back. They could have got Zach Moss or Tony Pollard. Really lost him. They could have replaced him with Zach Moss for $4 million, but they didn't want to do that. At some point, they've got to spend on something. And they seem to me to be a little backed in the corner by their reluctance to redo Dak Prescott's contract, to give CeeDee Lamb an extension, to give Micah Parsons an extension. And that's the part that I don't understand, because you would think those are 3 players that you want long-term. You want to lock them up. You want to lower the cap number. And this way you can bring back the players that you should bring back to keep your roster what it was last season, if nothing else, so you can have a chance to win again. I don't know why they're not doing that. I don't know why they're just completely sitting on their hands. Again, I was fooled by the all-in, but I certainly thought they would have tried to keep Pollard. Maybe, Dorrance Armstrong was a good part of a rotation. Dan Quinn loved to have him. Maybe the price was a little too high, but these are the kind of guys that they probably could have kept off free agency with a little bit of an effort. Why they refuse to make it is stunning. And, if you're telling Mike McCarthy in a win or else year, here's the same team from last year, only we're taking away your starting center, a couple of defensive ends, and your starting running back. Good luck to Mike McCarthy, because that's not going to end well.
Well, that's the new theory that I've settled on. And I've been around the Cowboys long enough that I didn't trust Jerry when he made the all-in comment, but I didn't really understand where he was going with it. And now, look, we're a week into free agency, and look, for any Cowboy fan that's looking for a reason to hold on to optimism, I mean, the Cowboys are going to do what they do. They've already started the process of re-signing some of their guys. They will dip in and find some affordable free agents at some point. They will draft guys, and they will be able to field a competitive team. I mean, I don't think the Cowboys are going to completely drop off a cliff. The question is, are they going to be better than a team that just went 0-1 in the playoffs after winning the division? And I don't know how you can sit here and say that's true. And so I go back to what Jerry said, Ralph, and I sit here thinking, well, how can a guy who owns the team really be all in, right? Because all in is the poker term for, if I lose, I'm done and I'm out. We know that's never going to be the case for Jerry Jones, but maybe what he means is Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott are very much all in. If they don't win big, both of them could be gone in 2025. Dak obviously entering a contract year and holds so much of the leverage. It gets to a point where I start to wonder if Dak can be negotiated with. The Cowboys say, oh, we'll do this later with a no trade clause and a no tag clause. Dak ultimately decides whether he wants to re-up in Dallas. And then Mike McCarthy as well. You would have to imagine it's going to have to be a better performance than what we saw last year to guarantee he gets a new deal. So maybe it's the guys below him that Jerry means are all in and not necessarily the Cowboys front office.
Right. All in as, we are focused only on this year. And if we don't get it done, goodbye to everybody and we'll start over. And I mean, it could be. I listened and read his explanation of all in from when he met with the media at the scouting combine. It was a nonsensical word salad that is indecipherable. So I don't really, he certainly hasn't expressed what he meant, but that's as good a theory as any. I've certainly thought about that. My worry, if I'm a Cowboys fan, is number one, like, as you just discussed, you've made the team worse, not better. So you're not setting them up for success. And also with a starting quarterback, whatever flaws Dak Prescott has, if they were to get rid of him, he's not the quarterback in 2025. We're probably going to spend a lot of time on this during the season if they don't sign him to an extension. What the heck is your plan? There are 32 starting jobs. There are probably 20 really good NFL quarterbacks. Dak Prescott is one of them. What do you do? Who's going to be a free agent that you think you can sign? Who's going to be, presumably they're not going to have the number one pick in the draft next year. What's it going to cost you to get up there? And is the guy going to be anywhere near as good as Caleb Williams? When you've got a quarterback like Dak Prescott, if you actually are thinking maybe we're going to move on from him, well, you better have a really good idea of what, because you're going to miss him when he's gone.
I don't have a lot to say that's going to ease Cowboy fans' frustrations or make them feel better. I do at this point, it feels likely to me the Cowboys will be a competitive team, but not as good of a team as the one that just fell very, very short of its goal last year. But what I can offer you is a promise that next year will not be this dull, because either the Cowboys will have Dak Prescott back on a huge, huge deal and all of the hoopla that goes with that, or they'll be going through a quarterback transition for the first time in almost a decade. So one way or another, next March should be a lot more entertaining than this March. But as for now, very par for the course for the Dallas Cowboys. Ralph, it's been a frenzied first week. I hope it calms down for you a little bit there in the NFC East. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for taking the time, man.
Hey, my pleasure, David. Anytime.